Happy Labor Day, ladies and gents, and welcome back to another episode of the Rollin 5.0 podcast with KASL Customs and the Infamous Project. On this episode, we are joined by the one and only Mr. Samuel Farance. Sam is the owner of Venova Productions, and Sam was just on a road trip up to Canada to help Chris with the DECH documentary that he's trying to put together. Sam is a very well-known individual in our community. He worked at Fox Resto with Matt and Jen, and he's out on his own now, blazing his own trail with, again, this Venova Productions. Head over to the social medias and please check out Sam. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy our podcast with Mr. Samuel Farance. Jesse Hill, that shitty sounding wingnut.
I wonder if he's showing up to Fox Fest this year. Because then if I talk shit about him right now, he's going to beat me up when I show up. You know.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a Foxbody, so what's he going to roll up in? The F-150 and, I don't know, sell waters on the street corner?
No, he'll sell some t-shirt, like the concert t-shirt guys that sit outside. You know, he'll have some knockoff t-shirt at Fox Fest.
I'm actually excited to see what this new guy's doing with it. Apparently he's going the full mile.
What new guy?
So he sold his Fox, and the guy that bought it tore it down to the studs and is building her back up.
So is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I don't think that it needed to be tore down to the studs, but mini tub and he's kind of going the full mile with it.
Gotcha.
And when you think about it from the, I guess, extent that Jess had taken it to, you really didn't have to touch paint. All that shit's done. So, I mean, it's just all whatever, mechanical upgrades.
Yeah. What motor was in that car?
Well, I think in Jess, because Jess never really did a whole lot of showing it, right? So nobody really knew, but I think Jess had a stock 5-liter in it. And I think this new guy, if I've got my story correct, put a 347 in it. Yeah.
I'm going to say something that's going to strike anger with people. I never understand why people do 347s over just going to a 351.
You can't understand why?
I don't understand. In my head, it's why would you want to do a stroker setup with a 302 base? You're already pushing the limitations of the block in some ways. And why don't you just go right to a 351 at that point if you're hunting cubic inch, that much cubic inch versus I understand doing a 331, that kind of makes sense to me. But and understandably the 351's I think an inch or 2 inches taller deck height technically or something. So I know there's a clearancing to extent issue, but
just a 351 game though is because think of it, everyone with a 351 is just going to go to 408. So
yeah,
it's kind of the, there's that. And I feel just the part availability, because at 347, you're dealing with all 302 base stuff. So headers and intakes and you know what I mean? You're never dealing with some of those variances or differences that you would need to with because 302 is just, everything's the same and everything's easy to get.
I guess it's from a standpoint of oiling and stuff like that, longevity. I mean, if you're talking about street, just a street setup, I guess that makes more sense for availability and stuff. But when you're talking about, if you're hunting performance, to me, it's just it makes more sense to do a 351 and do that.
Well,
and also I'm a carburetor person. So.
Right. The other add-on to that though, too, is the accessory drive system, right? Everything is just straightforward if you're maintaining that, small block 302 platform.
Yeah.
And then the other thing though is the RPM range, right, is going to increase. And if done correctly, I think I'm kind of in the same camp as you, Sam, but I think if done correctly, with a dart block and everything else, 4-bolt mains and really done right, now you're getting way up there in the money, end of things. versus say going to the junkyard and getting the 351 out of an old half ton, right? But yeah, I think it's just, well, and it's a flavor too, right? It's kind of fun to say you got a stroker motor. I think there's benefits for sure, but yeah, they got to be done right. I don't think I'd ever run down the road of a 2-bolt main 347. It just doesn't add up for me.
Yeah, I see that people just taking their 302 out of a Fox and just doing that stroke bore to a 347. My head's just like, that thing's going to have like longevity issues. You guys know how I am. I'm always like, I want cars to last 100,000 miles without question. I'm not looking.
So speaking about crazy engine building, I watched, and Gary, I think I've sent you some of his videos. The Sretton, the E39 M5 dude.
Yeah.
And so he has an E39 M5. Like, he does a bunch of other things, but he's known for that platform. And he took his motor, or shipped his motor, to the shop. Oh man, it's on the East Coast somewhere in the US. And he went over there and did this whole tour of the facility. And they went through and he even said, he's like, hey, this isn't an algorithm based video. This is like a pure nerding, geeking out video on the E39 M5 motor and the whole rebuild process. And so they went through, and the amount of tolerance that they go through to make sure that everything is within spec and in line, even all the cylinder bores, making sure they're all true. The timing cover needs to be on when they deck the block to make sure that there is zero discrepancy across when they hone or bore out the cylinders. They use torque plates to reenact that the heads are torqued onto the motor, because if you do it without the torque, because you want it to behave the way that it'll be when the motor's completely assembled. So if you're machining the block and the heads aren't on there, as soon as you start tightening stuff, things, the tolerances are going to get out of whack. And the thing that was probably the most intriguing is that they are an Alumisil block, so aluminum silicone based setup. And there was always this misconception that people think that the cylinder walls were coated. Well, it's actually part of the machining process, where after they, take material out to get whatever imperfections out of the cylinder bores, it's almost like a felt pad that goes through, and it kind of wipes away the aluminum and brings the silicone out. And apparently it acts like fingers. So what it comes down to is you never want piston ring contact with the wall. It's just only with the silicone and, the oil that's in between there. And so that's what gives the illusion that looks like the cylinder is coated with something. It's just because they're actually got this technique that removes the aluminum part away from the silicone that's mixed in. But the whole block is this composite, if you will, and right down to balancing the crank. And they're like, we'll balance, if we know which flywheel and pressure plate you're going with, we'll actually balance the flywheel and pressure plate on and mark which bolts belong where. Because believe it or not, the little bit of Loctite on the pressure plate bolt from that might be 0.0 whatever gram, but when you move it away from the center of the crank, and I think that's what they said. The crank, I think the tolerance is 3 grams, and they bring it down to under a gram worth of tolerance. Just the insanity. And they say yeah, you get an LS block or something like that, they're you'll see cylinders that are off by almost 30 thou.
Really?
And these guys are 0.000, just I'll send you guys the link, because I know, Sam, you're a nerdy dude with some of this stuff as well. But it's really, really interesting to see them even go further than what BMW's specifications are originally, and just he does a phenomenal job. It's about an hour and a half watch, but like, dude, I was like glued to fucking YouTube screen last night when Brittany was passed out.
Crazy. Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder though. Hey, like, so they go to these great lengths, and this is like super. I'm right into this nerdy shit too, right? But they go to these great lengths, and like, all for what at the end of the day? Like, now I know the obvious answer to that question, right? Like, this is BMW with their engineers with their propellers on their heads, you know, like they go to these crazy, crazy lengths. But like, are BMWs getting like an extra million miles over and above an LS or a small block Ford? Like, they're not. So where's the justification to all this?
Well, I think for this shop specifically is that they deal with race motors.
Yeah.
So, you know,
on a race level, I get it. Totally.
Yeah. So like the street stuff, which they still have an interesting process, because I think, what did they say? Something about when they're balancing the cranks, they won't go, they'll leave a little bit of weight on them on purpose because it gets offset by the high RPM range, something along those lines. So it's like the balancing has a greater effect on like your lower RPM drivability stuff, but when it comes to racing, you're kind of going for something else. And they even had these proprietary pistons that they've made that the skirt on the thrust side, right? Because you're a V. The skirt on the thrust side is thicker than the one on the opposing side, and then something about the pin they moved again counter up. So like just the stupid shit, just to asymmetric to work against the fact that it's a V and not trying to make everything symmetrical. It's like, and they say, they're like, you know, you could maybe do it this way or you could do it another way and not, you know, but, and maybe you get lucky. But it's like, I'll tell you that out of the hundreds of motors that we've built and that have come out of this facility, he said there was only 2 failures. One was a crankshaft literally snapped in half, which, you know,
bad cast, who knows?
Different conversation. He's like, there was probably a hairline fracture or something that was missed in the crank during assembly. And then there was a race motor that had Dynon camshafts in it, and I guess the camshafts were reused and had higher miles, and a camshaft snapped in half, and that ended up in catastrophic failure. But like, man, but like right down to, I forget how many angles they were doing on the valve jobs and stuff, and showing like how everything goes down. It's very, very well done. And like, props to that Sretton dude, because like, I wish if like my YouTube channel was something of similarity, it would be, because he's strictly a BMW guy, but it would be like that to me is the example in terms of what he does. Because dude gets dirty, he does all his own work, but at the same time, like, to see, like, I don't even know whose facility in the Foxbody world could even be at that level. It is, you know what I mean? It's just, it's something else.
Totally. Well, and in a world too where, I mean, if there's anyone listening to this that runs a machine shop, I'm definitely not shitting on anyone specific, and I'm sure if you do listen to this, you're probably one of the good ones. But like, there's a lot of bad ones out there, right? That are just like assembly line style, running shit through, and you hear horror stories. Like, even in my small little town, like, guys are always dealing with shit.
You know what? There's a poor guy that's on this pod right now that I just put 2 and 2 together. As you were running down this, I was told some stories about one of his recent builds when we spent a lot of time in Canada together, and I'm sure he's just probably like, God damn it.
I mean,
Sam,
yeah,
hit us with it.
I mean, I did go through an experience where, unfortunately, you know, I had an engine that was built. It had, when we broke it in, it had lifter noise, and unfortunately, it was an issue of the builder who built the engine didn't understand a basic fundamental of preloading the lifters. And in his defense, I would like to give him a little leg to stand on. He put in Morel linked lifters, and these Morels have such a tight tolerance. I mean, so tight that brands of oil. So I'm running driven race oil, 1040 high zinc conventional. It doesn't even like synthetic. It wants conventional high zinc. It's such a you can't switch it to AMs. It starts making noise. It's that finicky. Like I went over 100, like I went over about 500 miles on the oil life, and it started having idle issues because of that oil. As soon as we changed oil, went away.
Really?
So those lifters were so finicky. Yeah, they're so finicky with what they want. I mean, I I think it was, unfortunately, it was a situation of lack of understanding with them, like valve preload, and that these lifters are so finicky that it wasn't, it was a bad situation. We had to go back and redo those not remove the lifters, but we put new push rods, went to adjustable rocker arms, because it was the previous rockers were the pedestal mount with no adjustment, so we went Scorpion adjustable tips, and that allowed us to fine tune. We still had to machine the lifter or the rocker arm fulcrums to adjust them even more, and to deal with some defective Scorpion made defective parts. Unfortunately, like the rocker arm itself is great, the pedestal they don't make, I think, is my theory, and it was defective. We had to send it out to machine shop, so it was 3 extra months of work, about $3,000 worth of labor, parts, and machine shop and stuff on top of the original rebuild cost. It was a lot. It was not, and I mean, it's like one of those things. Like I said, I want to give the builder some credit, like in the sense,
Yeah.
It was an uphill battle from the get-go because of those particular lifters, and I didn't pick them out. He picked them out, so I mean that's his own doing in some ways there. But um, fortunately, I think I hopefully learned something having that discussion about what happened. Hopefully, he learned, and something may come out of it someday. Hopefully, I would like to talk to him further about about it. But yeah, I mean that happens, and that I also have an engine from I'll name drop Prestige, which has the Foxbody like open house.
Yeah.
They built a 408 stroker for me for a fastback, but even that's like they were telling me there's some quirks with things. So I mean it's I think it's partially the world now we live in too. It doesn't help anything. Parts are bad.
Yeah, that's a big topic, that one, buddy. I know, because we've like anyone that says they've never made a mistake, you're full of shit. You know what I mean? Like, so mistakes get made and whatever. So I'm not referring to anyone when I, kind of get on my soapbox and start ranting on this, but like, I do see it doesn't matter what service it is you're referring to in the world today. It could be, a machine shop. It could be irrigation individual, and like it just nobody seems to really take their job or themselves all that seriously anymore, right? It's like, fuck it,
Yeah,
let the next guy worry about it.
Well, that's the thing is like you make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. We make all the time, just every day of our lives. It's how you deal with the mistake, how you take responsibility for that mistake is what defines if you're a good machine shop or a good, farm, whatever field you're in. That's what defines you as good. Because except medical, maybe that's the only place you maybe don't want to make a mistake. I don't think I want a doctor doing surgery on me to make a mistake necessarily and be like, oopsies, we got to go back in.
Pilot, right? Another good one. Yeah.
I don't know. Pilot, you could survive a little bit if they depends on what kind of mistake they make.
I live in the mountains. I don't want any mistakes happening over the mountains. But it's true, man. Like, I just think that, like, let's say, I don't know, remember back when we were kids, like I didn't do this. I worked at a pharmacy, but had some friends that worked at like a grocery store, and you were just the bag guy or whatever, bag gal, right? And like you can literally affect all those people's lives just by being the bag person, right? Not throwing the eggs on the bottom or the bread on the bottom. Like just tiny little things that if you take yourself and your job serious enough, like you're going to literally affect those people's lives in a good way. And then when you talk something like a machine shop where you're spending thousands of hard-earned dollars, it's like, hey, if you got a lifter, it sounds like this guy knew the lifters or whatever, or kind of did, just didn't know how to set them up. But if you got a lifter that maybe the client wants you to run and you're like, shit, this is exotic to me, I've never worked with these before. Like, you want to talk me through this, or do you know someone I can speak with that can, whatever? Like, just lay on the sword, put your hand up, ask for help, like, I forget the saying, you know what I mean? But it's like the stupidest mistakes are made when you don't ask any questions, And now we were also raised in a way, or at least I was, where like, you better have, if you're going to ask a question, you better have thought this through, right? Like, I want to know that you thought about this. I want to know that you maybe tried something, but if you're worried about breaking that bolt, put your hand up, right? If it's feeling a little off, let me know. But outside of that, man, I mean, it's all in your heart and soul. Like, like get in there, get dirty, like figure it out, do a good job. I mean, I just can't imagine being one of those people. You know what I mean? Like, whatever it is, if you're the worst grocery bagger in the world, like, how do you feel when you lay your head on your pillow at night, knowing that you just squashed everyone's bread? Like, simple example, but you know what I mean? It gets worse from there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I don't get it.
I understand make the mistake, but the thing is, for me, it's hard for me not to say, like, how do I learn from that? Like, I think that's kind of like taps into what you're saying, is like, I just don't understand how you don't try to better yourself. Like, if you know something's wrong, like, and okay, I need to learn how to correct this, and then how do I move forward and like put that into, like, I make mistakes all the time, either in like between the detailing or the filming. Mistakes
Yep.
happen all the time, but it's like, I have to on the spot figure out how do I make that right, and then learn from it always. Like, I mean, there's things I mean, even like filming is always like, I mean, I'm always learning, thinking about, it just, there's all kinds of things.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to think of something like when we were in Canada, like some, mistake or something, but actually that went ironically, it went really smoothly up there. It didn't go. I think the only time we had like a little bit was with rain, was like the only time, and that's something that's not even my doing.
But you know what, though, Sam, like I'm dying to hear this story, buddy, and I really want to bail into it. But like, I think like you just having the mentality of like, hey, like it's kind of how your soul is wired. You know what I mean? Like, you're willing to make a mistake, you're willing to lay on the sword, you're willing to put your hand up, and you kind of you enter into situations knowing that, hey, shit might happen, but if it does, I'm going to fix it. If I can't fix it, I'm going to speak to who I need to speak to. Like, whatever. You know what I mean? It's an internal wiring that allows you to, I don't know, I guess, somewhat succeed in life at those situations.
It's caring. You know what I mean? Like, when you get into those situations, whether you fucked up or somebody else, or like, it's just caring in general. So the fact that if something bad happens, that you respond, or sometimes it's just being empathetic. Like, there's a lot of times where people don't necessarily expect anything. Like the 74, that Godzilla swap truck that I did, that finally made its way to Arizona to the owner. He sends me a picture probably 2 days after he got it, and I just see this massive puddle of coolant underneath.
Oh, good.
Like, oh fuck, like, what did I miss, or what did I forget? I'm like, dude, so like, where's it coming from? He's like, the petcock. And I'm just like, let me guess, it's like cheap plastic or something. He's like, yeah, it's plastic. And I'm like, go get a brass one or whatever. Like, I'm really sorry that happened. And it's one of those things, like, I'd never used that style radiator before. It ticked all the boxes, right? Enough cores, direct replacement for an F100, all those things that you would want. But I checked the petcock. No, like you're buying a brand new part. You'd think that it would last more than, a couple hundred miles that it did. And, it's unfortunate, but like a lot of people just like, even though it's not even necessarily my mistake, I feel like it's my mistake because it's right. We almost know better with all these aftermarket parts, but, I know for him, just even, carrying or at least knowing or guiding him right down to fix or whatever else, he's not going to come back. Like I would pay for the coolant he needed to put in there, but he's like, oh, whatever, I'll just go grab some, some premix, fill everything back up and, carry on with things. Where a lot of people would just be like, oh, taillights down the road, maybe not even respond to the message.
I was going to say that, dude. Most people wouldn't even pick up the phone these days to answer the guy's call.
Yeah, exactly. You'd just be like, oh, that's it. Service is done. You're on your own. Right. Which, it's an interesting time this day and age. And somebody actually forwarded me, it was an interview of a shop and they were going on about being successful in the business. And they actually brought up the scenario. Yeah, so probably the same guy forwarded it to us, right? So it's like, hey, if you blow up, you do a build for somebody and their car's all built by you, the shop, and you blow it up on the dyno, most shops would be like, okay, you're fucked. You got to buy a new motor. Where it's, this is what he said, whether that's what they actually do or not, they factor in or budget or allocate that shit's going to happen and that shouldn't be the customer's problem at the end of the day because they were the ones that put the car together or they were the ones that entrusted the engine builder that was used for, the purpose of it. So, whether you got to put away, it's almost like having your own insurance policy.
Yeah.
As the shop, knowing that something might go sideways and it's going to sting. But if you're prepared for it, then everything should be okay. Now, if you just opened up a shop and your first thing blows up, might not work out so well for you. But right, if you got years in the industry and everything else, like, yeah, you should be able to navigate around it.
Yeah. I think, boys, for me, I always hate people that like bring up problems with no solutions. That's like, it's easy to sit around and bitch and complain, right? About the only thing that I can really think of that would somewhat be able to solve this problem, because this is a big problem. Like I can remember actually working for a guy as a kid, and there was a few of us younger fellows working for him, and one of the other guys I was working alongside showed up to work with sleep in his eyes, in the corner of his eyes. And the guy, our boss, freaked. Get the fuck off this job site, go home, splash some water on your face, clean that goddamn sleep out of your eyes. And that was only in the 90s, right? Now, rewind the clock back to say like the 50s, where you didn't get on an airplane unless you were wearing a suit and tie or a dress for a gal. Like we took our lives a hell of a lot more seriously. We took ourselves more seriously, I think, back in the day. Nowadays, right? I was wondering if you guys were going to hear this, because I could hear this music outside my garage door. I'm like, oh shit, the wife's home, right? And she's got the tunes blaring or something. No, it's the delivery guy. And he's got her just maxed. And as I was listening to you guys, I'm kind of out of the corner of my ear listening to like our front doors straight forward off my computer screen here. I'm like, I know I'm going to hear cardboard, like a corner of cardboard just hitting the fucking sidewalk, right? Because they just boot fuck everything they deliver, right? And it's stuff like that where I'm just like, could you imagine, right? Especially these days when everyone's got a Ring camera or something, like just boop, ring the doorbell, have a nice day, enjoy your package, right? Whatever. Like just something to take your gig a little more seriously. I don't know, man. Like people don't take care of their yards anymore. Fuck, I could go on, right? But back in the 50s and 60s, if you weren't mowing your lawn, right, there's probably probably somebody's wife coming across the street to tell you to smarten up, right? Get your shit together. Like we got a neighborhood to worry about here. We're raising kids. Smarten up.
Well, and the worst part is there's fucking grass Roombas or whatever that can cut your grass for you.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is, right? Like the world's
Yeah.
just so automated and dependent on all of these other things. It doesn't, like, nobody is, I guess, immersed or like just attached to these normal chores or things, you know, that we take a sense of pride in.
Nobody got enough lickings as a kid. That's what I think the problem is. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, boys, Sam, I've been really looking forward to this conversation. Shit, we didn't even introduce you, buddy, but I think everybody knows the soft, deep, bassy tones that are coming through your microphone right now.
Yeah.
The man, the myth, the legend. Yeah, so you took a little trip to well, I don't know. We'll call it the Great White North for now. I'm dying to hear the whole thing. Like, first time in Canada? Let's start there.
I mean, it was pretty nice. I mean, I think everyone said it best. It's a really nice place to visit. It's beautiful. I mean, the driving through the area is wonderful. I mean, from a car person standpoint, the roads seem immaculate. I kind of want to steal one of your littering signs so badly, though. I know this is going to keep me from getting back in next time, but man, I would steal one of those signs in a heartbeat. They are just who doesn't love a can of beans? Say, no cans of beans. Sign. You know. But yeah, it's beautiful. Like, it really is a beautiful country. I mean, and I saw just a tiny little bit of it, and it's just gorgeous. So I mean, it was a blast going through there.
No problem crossing the border.
Not terrible. I mean, honestly, the American side was a little bit more annoying than the Canadian side. Canadian side was pretty nice. I mean, besides, just gun talk and just asking where my guns are and stuff, and it's like, at home, and they're like, where at home? Like, not, you just leave them at home. No, they're in a safe, locked away. Like, what do you think I'm gonna do? Put them on a piece of string, like a little, when someone walks in, it's like, here, have a gun. It's like, no, they're locked. I mean, I have a few guns. I keep them locked. So, but it was interesting. That was the most bizarre. Really, that was the biggest thing. But I mean, nice, nothing. I'm still waiting on the tolls to show up, but maybe they'll never show up.
Where did you cross, buddy? What border crossing?
I crossed in Buffalo. Like, I think there's only one crossing there. I forgot the bridge, but it took me on to Queen Elizabeth, I think, is like the roadway, and it goes straight to Toronto.
Right.
So you would have crossed like Niagara Falls, essentially.
Yeah. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, what you know more better than me, Chris. It's Niagara and Detroit are the two busiest, right?
Yes. Yeah, because Sarnia is kind of hit or miss. Like, I feel like a lot of people, if Detroit's backed up, then people kind of deviate the Sarnia way. But yeah, those would be the busiest ones. Although this new bridge that they're building in Detroit, I think, will definitely, because technically, and I don't know if they're going to shut down the current Ambassador Bridge or just keep the tunnel, because now there's two ways in Detroit. There's the tunnel and the bridge, but now there's the new bridge. And so I don't know if there's actually going to be 3 crossings at that point, which would be interesting to see how that plays out. Or maybe like I said, the Ambassador's maybe at end of life or needs renos. I don't know.
Right. Well, here's a fun little fact. And so when we went down to Detroit there 2 years ago, crossing the bridge, it was actually, me and you crossed. And then on the way back, me, Jeff, and my wife crossed. And we were saying to Jeff at the time, we're like, yeah, it's just so weird for us Westerners being out east here and like crossing bridges that are the border. Like there's this clear end and start of like land when you cross from one country to another. He's like, what are you talking about? And I said, well, out west, like it's all land. Like we share a land border with the United States. And his mind was blown in the opposite manner of mine with the bridges, right? He's like, so you can just like walk across. I'm like, well, technically, like they'll fucking shoot you if you do, but like, yeah, you kind of can just walk across. I actually, like, I knew guys growing up that had gotten shit. Maybe they got a DUI or something, because that actually, well, it's a criminal offense. And if you don't clear that up, actually, I think even if you do pay the money to go to court and clear it up, like that hangs around like AIDS, right? Like, and the US doesn't want any criminals coming in, and God bless them for it. I wouldn't want them coming in either, right? But anyway, something as silly as a DUI will deter you legally from coming into the United States. So I knew guys that like 5 minutes from the border or whatever, they'd kick their buddy out of the truck and he'd go through the fucking bush, run across the line, they'd pick him up on the other side. Yeah.
Oh, I think it's like that, like on the like East Coast of whatever the hell borders, like Maine and something. I think that there's like literal, like, yeah, you can walk across or do whatever. But I guess, yeah, in Detroit or Niagara, you'd probably have a difficult time through the falls. But Detroit, right, it's watercraft is always a little bit of an issue for people that are out on the water legitimately, and it's like the invisible line of
too far.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then so there's actually a guy recently that I think on a jet ski that zipped across and ditched the jet ski, and they were like going after him or something. I guess they called him and he's like, oh yeah, no, I just whatever, I'm leaving and going back, or gave him some bullshit excuse, and then like never heard from him again.
Just doing a beer run.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, buddy. So yeah, they let you in. That's good. Good.
Yeah,
Canada welcomed you in.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
And I heard Chris told you don't tell him you're going to work, right? You're
no. Chris gave me the rundown. I was like on that bridge because it was traffic, but I was there for like 45, 30, I think at 30 minutes to an hour, somewhere around there. I was on that bridge coming in, and I just kept repeating my like line. like an actor. I'm like, God, relax and just, I'm here to visit someone. Who is it? Chris. Where does he live? Somewhere. Because I was like, I think when I got there, I was like, I said his town, and I didn't know how to pronounce it at first, and so I screwed it up, and they're like, oh, this is how you pronounce it, and I was like, oh, okay. And I think that sold it enough that they were like, yeah, we're done questioning him on anything else personal, because this guy sounds clueless already.
See, totally. The worst part is here is like he legitimately didn't have anything to worry. Like, it's not like there was a bunch of financial compensation and contracts and whatever. Like, he was legitimately coming to, video and do like legitimate stuff that is that's fine. But the problem is like, and Gary, you know this, right? It's sometimes they ask you questions to try and almost fabricate what they want to screw you over with, when that's not even the intention, right? So it's like, okay, first trip to Canada, whatever, and some people are a little bit more nervous than others, and then they'll start poking and digging more. So I just said, listen, dude, you're bringing your camera gear up, you're coming to see Canada, I happen to be there, we're gonna go to Woodward after, and everything is going to be fine. Just clean, simple, less is more. Because he did have gear with him, but there's nothing stopping people from filming and taking photographs and stuff. But yeah, it would just suck. You get that one guy who'd be like, oh, how you come up here, what, they're not going to pay you? Like, I'm sure you have, and then it's like, let me see your phone. And then, it's going to be, let's drag this out and find the contract that doesn't exist and fabricate whatever bullshit. So yeah, whatever. It was smooth sailing in the end.
100% less is more, because it is something that's really easy to trip up with, right? Like, because natural conversation in a legal manner like that can really throw you off. Like, what are you doing up here? Oh, I'm just going to work with a buddy for a little bit, like do some whatever. You're doing what? Right? And that's that phrase they're looking for, right? Now you're fucked.
Yeah.
But I mean, and Sam, to your point about what address are you going to? I get that going south all the time too. The worst is if me and Chris are doing one of these ridiculous road trips, it's like, you want all 40 of them? Like, fuck, I'm going to be all over the place. Like, there's, total gypsy. Anyway, it's a very awkward scenario crossing that thing. And I guess in some respects for good reason, but like, yeah, I don't know. The whole I hate situations where it's guilty until proven innocent, right?
Yeah.
You automatically just feel like you're on the stand. It's like, fuck off, man. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just here. Let me in.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. Like, I mean, to Chris's point, truly, like, if a Canadian government official heard this, like, I wasn't unpaid job completely, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So, like, it really was coming up to see Canada and, got to talk to these wonderful people. And that's it. I mean, really, really, that's what it was. But yeah, I hate the guilty thing. But what's weird is it was worse on the other way coming in, or like coming back into the US. And it was actually, I don't know if you have that experience when you go back into Canada, but it's like this aggravating thing because it's like, I'm a citizen of this country. Like, like this is like, I understand if Canada did it to me, but like a US, federal agent is doing that to me. It's like, what? I can't go home? Like,
I know.
Really? So,
dude, and I'm in the opposite of you, where, well, same as you, but coming back to Canada is where I get grilled, and it's like, guys, what are we doing here? Like, I'm one of you,
Yeah.
So anyway, enough about that. So tell me about the trip, bud. You enjoyed Canada. The filming was obviously one of the highlights, right? You got to see a pretty neat story.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I did purposely in this situation was not to really read up on DECH that much.
Nice.
I wanted to like come in open-minded, not with any kind of perception beyond the base perception of it's Canadian Celine.
Right.
And it really was like within the first day, it was eye-opening. Like what from a mechanical standpoint, from like engineering and all that the parts and the cars to the people that are still behind, DECH and like that spirit of it and spirit of Derek and all that. And they're still going on to this day into like what I think Greg's like 70 something. Like I mean, it's incredible. And seeing these guys that are just so enthusiastic still about their cars and still improving and it was amazing. The people were just, it was a magical experience. Is the best way to put it. I mean, it was just, I'll die with all the memories and and the experience. It's just put it up on the shelf of like awards and great memories to go with. So,
Oh, you're giving me goosebumps, buddy. This is always a good sign. I love that. I know I've always been interested in this story too. The fact that I'm a little jealous for sure that you got to experience this firsthand and meet all those folks. But how great is it too though, right? Because like you being an enthusiast and then getting to kind of watch, there's actually, speaking of like making mistakes or not making mistakes, you probably found yourself like, because you've obviously got to maintain focus and all this shit, but like you're probably sitting there like you're sitting in front of your grandpa's fireplace listening to old war stories, right? Like, oh shit, right, I'm supposed to like zoom or cut or whatever.
yeah, I mean, that's like, there are times where I in that process, I really like, I'm listening to them talk and I kind of just doze off in the sense of like, I'm listening. I get so focused in what's being said and processing that. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to check the audio level. I gotta do
Right.
this. Like, unfortunately, like, hey, I'm smart enough because I am that person. I get so involved, like so focused into the conversation and stuff like that, that I have equipment that I made sure that like I have wiggle room for mistakes.
Right.
The audio equipment allows, like, the lavalier has a certain, it's one of these ones that have a really wide range even to capture. And so like if someone starts talking a little bit louder than before, there's plenty of range on the top end and bottom end to compensate for that issue.
Nice.
So it, you know, being aware of myself allows me to, tune my equipment to fit how I work to begin with.
Yep.
But yeah, so
That's awesome, buddy. Hey, maybe just a quick pause on the story of DECH here, but how did you get into all this? Like, did you do anything in schooling, or is this just something that you've been interested in, or how's that
I,
all work?
I, it's funny because I know everyone knows me as the guy that worked at Foxtoberfest for like 2 or 3 years. I actually went to film school. I have associates in film production, and then I have a honors degree. So I have a bachelor's with honors in film studies.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So, and I actually make experimental work that I screen at festivals and stuff. So it's one of those funny things is like, I think in the Fox community, everyone knows me as Foxtoberfest or the guy online that says rotary swap your Fox. Like one of those, one of the two answers. And it's really, I mean, like legit, I have my degree still. I have to hang my degree, but it's like sitting right here still. So,
wow, buddy, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So you must have had friends or family that at the time you were going to school for all this stuff, they're like, what are you doing? Like, you may as well be, going to school for marine biology and then move to Ohio, like, what are you doing? But here you are using it.
Yeah, I'm really fortunate because I had that moment like during Foxtoberfest. I was like kind of questioning myself, like, 'cause film is what I really love doing. That's making work and making art and stuff. And so I kind of was like, questioning myself at that point. I'm like, I'm in the automotive industry. I'm in the show event management industry. I'm like completely the opposite of anything I really went to school for. And it's kind of now come back like full circle in the sense I'm doing so much automotive video work, and because of my focus in that space, it allows me to hit notes that people want in their videos for automotive content that other production or film people don't hit necessarily. So it's nice. It's come, and my family's always been supportive, so that's the fortunate thing.
Nice.
So yeah, but there is this key moment in high school that I remember the principal, like, they set down seniors, and I was like, I'm going to go film school. I'm going to go film school. And mind you, I've been a car person since I was in high school. Like my first car was a 72 Nova. I still, have that car to this day.
Hell yeah, brother.
So everyone's like, you're going to be a mechanic. that's your life, where you're going to go in life. It's like, I'm going to be in film. And yeah, now it's full circle. It's come back. Yeah, everything's worked out the way it is. I'm lucky to have it the way it is.
Well, and you're merging those two worlds together, which is awesome. The reason I kind of asked that question the way I did is because my wife's sister went to school for film as well. And now she did it up here in Canada in Lethbridge, Alberta. And like, I really don't even know if it's on the roadmap of like places to get your education and then do something with. And we were always like, oh my God, what are you doing? Like, honestly, right? Anyway, unbeknownst to us, this gal hits the streets running. She was Matthew McConaughey's assistant on Interstellar or Inception. Fuck, I always screw those two up. But anyway, the one where he's trying to save the world from some dust bowl that's going over and they go to outer space. Yeah. Worked with him. Oh shit, who was it that dated Affleck? Casey Affleck. Worked with him, and anyway, she's kind of carved herself this path by like working on bigger films, but also doing her own stuff on the side and going to film festivals and all this stuff. I mean, it's a really, really neat world, and I've had to eat my words, right? Because I never told her this personally, because you want to see people do what they want to do in life. But I can remember saying like, dude, what is your sister doing? Like, this is not going to end well. And here she is rocking and rolling with it. So it's a true testament to like, do what you love, right? If you know that it's in your veins, you got to do it. Like, the world needs more of that. They don't need more people like me going, what are you doing taking film school? Like, come on.
Well, it's
So I think it's awesome,
determination.
but
Yeah, I mean, it's determination. Like it's. I think anything like if you work hard at it, I mean, you really work hard at it, you will find success. It may not be exactly the way you thought about it. You know, I didn't think my success would be where I'm at, but you know, you keep working at it, it will happen. So
yeah,
you know, I think that's the true testament to like follow your dreams, work hard at, because I think those things have to go together. If you follow your dreams
yeah,
but don't do anything, you're not
no,
going to
that's
go
true.
anywhere, you know?
It's true,
So
bud. Well, and your photography too. I mean, you snapped some pretty rank photos of me and Chris's shitty old cars there at Pitts. I mean, dude.
yeah, it's kind of funny. The photography thing is I have to thank Harris for that. You know, because I've been doing like it's a little weird switch back and forth from film because there's technique differences, but it's funny because it's like Harris is like you should do more photography. I was like, no, and it's a nice knit like thing as a side thing for me because it's quick. Like it in my head, it's quick. You know, I don't spend hours working on it. I can spend like an hour doing like taking
Yeah.
photos and then editing them and all that. So it's quite nice. And yeah, I'm technically good good at it. I take decent
Oh
photos.
yeah.
Yeah. So
If you can make this piece of shit over my shoulder look good, buddy, you're good at it. And you did.
thank you. Thank
So
you.
all right, Matt. So yeah, like how long were you up there then? How long was the trip?
Let's see. So I left Saturday and then I came back to my
Wednesday.
hometown Thursday. I think it was, yeah. Either Thursday or Wednesday. I forgot because
You left Wednesday, but you like got as much driving in. I think you
yeah,
cashed
because
in
I
where
started I just remember it took a while. I left later than I wanted to that day. And I get to of course it's West Virginia of all places. And that's when my mind started losing it. There's a point of driving so much in a car alone with yourself that you
Yeah.
start to go crazy. And I just remember I had like Country Road playing on repeat, and I'm just screaming on the top of my lungs this song, like singing with the windows down, and people are just looking at me like I'm a loony. And to be fair, I probably looked like a loony, to be honest. And that I think that's where I cut it out. I know that's where I cut out for the night. So yeah, was it Wednesday? I don't. I guess I
yeah,
don't know.
because
It's something like it was.
originally, yeah, I think we were kind of allotting for an extra day, and amazingly enough, like for I don't want to call it organized chaos, but it definitely felt like that for me. Like, so I guess on my side of things, number one, I got to thank Sam and like tremendously because it talking about things happening for the like a reason because I've been wanting to do this damn documentary for a long time. So to find someone that not only can shoot film but is a Foxbody enthusiast is like a fucking home run.
Yeah.
So I think we've been talking about this for since what, probably Foxtoberfest-ish.
20. It was Foxtrot 23 because that's when I left the show, working for the show full time.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think it was like the day I posted because I know I posted a picture of shitbox, and I remember, and then the next day I posted my goodbye of like I'm out of the show and all that, and that's when you DM me, and,
Yeah.
and you were like, oh, you do film? I think it was something along the lines of that. Like again, it goes back to no one knew I filmed anything.
Yeah.
You're a
Um,
good filmer, just shitty promoter, Sam. Jesus,
oh,
we got to get you figured out.
that's 100%. I told Chris I needed I need a full-time secretary to manage like that
Yeah.
and promote, like, because I can work really well. I cannot self-promote, and I cannot my time scheduling wise is just nutty. I'm always bad about scheduling.
And you know what? I
Right.
think the people that don't self promote, like it's a missed opportunity, but it means that if people are self promoting, then the quality of what they're doing probably isn't the greatest. right?
Like us.
Like that. Yeah. So yeah, note to self, maybe we should self-promote, at least pay someone to promote us for us. Anyways, so yeah, so this has been long conversation. Obviously, a lot of stuff got. I mean, it's always like you have these intentions. Oh yeah, we'll get to it. We'll make time, and finally the time came, and I told Sam. Well, I think I said this on the one pod right after on the drive down. Like there was a point, like I think a couple days before Sam was supposed to leave, where I was like, "This isn't going to work. Like people are driving me fucking nuts trying to herd these cats." And finally, like everything just at the last second seemed to have been coming together relatively okay. And me and Sam kind of had, I think, maybe like 2 phone conversations, some DMs. We had like a little Google shared drive of some basics, but like this was by no means like a very well orchestrated plan or anything like that. It was just like, we know we need to get footage. There needs to be people. How many people? And we didn't know how we would work together or how we would get along. That was probably the other massive unknown, because I just knew him from Foxtoberfest, and seems like a nice guy. Let's see what he's like when he's somewhat in charge with the camera and everything else, right? So yeah, there was a lot of unknowns, but I was actually quite pleased on how smoothly, and obviously some people interview a little bit better than others, but I think the first one, so Sam literally showed up and I was already GoProing like the first guy. I was like, let's just meet me at this address. I've never met this dude. We'll see how it goes. And right, I show up. He's got 2 wheels, the car jacked up, 2 wheels off. He's got his garage kind of already preset. Like the dude was like legitimately ready for what was about to go down. Like he couldn't have asked for anything better, or at least I couldn't have, from like the first interviewee, so to speak. And I guess it'd be a good question of who is your favorite experience with?
That's a really tough. That's really tough actually, because like each of them had a really unique perspective, which it was wild, and each of them like had just I don't know how to explain it. Like I think shoot, it's tough because I would say probably is Greg the first one we did? Was that yeah? Greg was one of the big ones. The brothers, I'm gonna lump them together. I'm sorry to them, but I'm gonna lump them together. They were really interesting. And then Frank, the body guy.
Yeah,
he's a beauty. Yeah,
those are like I would say like the 3 that kind of hit like just it was wild, like really wild. But
Frank won you over with the lunch.
Yeah, I think the lunch one. Yeah, come in and there's a lunch and everyone stops working. Man, well, it's also he reminded me of like my family, my dad's side of the family's from Long Island, so like it reminded me of all the people I know up in Long Island, except Canadian, and it's really weird. Like it's I don't even know how to explain it. It's just felt like home, but like a little off because like sorry was used it once in a while, like had like a little different tone, like just a little bit different tone, but it's still that kind of Long Island attitude, like hey, and like Italian and all that stuff too. I'm just, but yeah, no, it's like I said, it's tough because they're all unique. I mean, they're all incredible people to get to talk to, and it's so unique, and it's surprising to me. Again, sounds ignorant, but like I wouldn't expect this out Canada. Like this sounds
really shit. Here we go.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said ignorant. Is like I just didn't expect the Fox community to be that strong and so passionate and so excited, like that. Like it's just and so big. I mean, it's one of those things. I like I said, it's one of the reasons why it's one of those top shelf memories is because it's like, I mean, I'm a Foxbody enthusiast, and to be part of something like this, to see a part of this community, it's wild. So
yeah, because you got to see De Silva Racing and Frank's Mustang Specialties and Car Star, which are probably, there's a couple other shops out there, but like, those are kind of like your top dogs in today's day and age in terms of, everything from racing to, body and paint. And like, even I have to say, like, I've been to De Silva enough times. I know Joe well enough on his crew, but to actually see Frank's operation and setup and his group of guys was really impressive. It was almost like this culture and work environment that I wouldn't think exists today still, maybe in a weird way. Like, it was just, yeah, like how Sam said, it was like, yeah, no, let's stop. And like lunch was like a combined effort of, you know what I mean? And it was just like a massive spread of making like Italian sandwiches and sides. And then there was espressos and whatever else. Right. And like, everyone legitimately just being like passionate and like interested in what they were doing and, and what was going on. I don't know. It was just this really cool, I hate the term vibe, but it was a really good vibe in that shop.
Can you guys hear me all right, boys? I just lost your guys' sound.
I can
we
now.
can hear you.
Oh, there we go. That's cool. No, I can actually even attest to that too, Sam, because like I would say from my experience out west in Canada, the Foxbody following is like way stronger out east for sure. Which Ontario is not even really east, but it is for me, right? Yeah, like Ontario's definitely got a vibe, right? And to your point, like a vibe that resembles that of hell. I mean, at least pound for pound, if not maybe in some cases rivals, any of the Foxbody towns that you'd be aware of in the United States.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you look at some of the guys' photos and stuff that come out of the Toronto Foxbody Club shows and stuff. I mean, like, they're big. Like, we're not talking a half dozen cars here. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of cars just on a random Thursday or Wednesday,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's true, man.
That's cool to hear, buddy. Especially for Sam, like, coming out of the States and obviously being aware of what that scene's like, which that scene, I've talked about it enough, but I mean, I knew going in it was going to blow my mind. And then, you start getting into some of the shows, Foxtoberfest or Detroit or whatever, right? Pits. And I mean, you're like, holy shit. Like, if I tell any Canadian that hasn't been, and I know every single one of them that's a Fox nut wants to go, but I'm like, whatever you think it's going to be a multiple of 10 of that. Like, it'll literally blow your mind,
Yeah.
So anyway, any Canucks out there listening, take that to the bank.
Sam, is DECH Canadian Celine?
Oh, nah. I'm so happy that that was not true. I mean, it's honestly, it's like the opposite of Celine is the best way to describe it. It should be like the Uno reverse card of Celine, but or how people always say like Australia's up, everything's upside down in Australia. That it should be that equivalent, Celine in Australia type of thing. Like it's I mean, it's wild. I mean, I totally fell in love with DECH now. Like, I mean, 100%. Like, I now, greatly appreciate that. And I'm jealous of the people that got to go through that period of time, and those cars and meet there. It's one of those things there's people in life that I kind of regret never getting to have like really deep conversations to. Like, my grandfather's one, he passed away when I was young and he was a body guy and all this stuff. I really wish I got to talk to him more, like with the mindset that I have now. Derek is one of those people that is on my list of people. I'm like, God, I wish I could have got to talk to this guy and picked his brain about like, and talk with him, engineering, like stuff like that. He seems like that kind of guy that it would just be one of those holy moments to get to chat with.
Yeah.
And it's a shame, too late to the game, only 27 didn't live through that life. So,
So it's hilarious to me sometimes how these podcasts go. Typically it's not until like we're deep into like the second or third hour, or fourth or eighth if you got Screen Puff on, but there tends to be like a common thread that just naturally comes out. And anyone that's listened to us for long periods of time knows that like we don't go into this with any notes. It's just an organic conversation that we have. And we're fresh off of talking about people like my solution or whatever to get people up to snuff in the current day and age is, hey, look at how people were in the 50s and 60s, right? They dressed up. Derek, from what I understand, right, always had himself put together quite nicely, took his job very, very, very seriously. Again, this is all, I'm like you, Sam, this is all from what I understand, right? I never met him either. His product was like everything, right? And if it didn't make that car go faster, handle better, whatever, it was out the window. Like, he embodied what we were trying to figure out earlier, from what I gather, not ever meeting him, right? But from what I understand of DECH, that he embodied that.
Yeah. And I think, some of that translated to son, right? Peter was there on our last day of interviewing, and Peter was well dressed, had his fedora hat on. And I think that's another important part of the story, is that the people that know of DECH know what Peter's involvement and earned value was to the company. But like to anybody else, they're like, well, it wasn't called Petch, it was called DECH. You know what I mean? Like people, because Peter's so quiet. He really, really is. But, he was just as much involved in the later years in terms of the engineering and R&D. And he actually told us, right, he started engineering school, ended up dropping out to focus on the company, and working on the parts like the ASG, the rear end unit was all his design. And from the sounds of everyone that we talked to, like, he's probably like the most impressive driver that any of these guys have ever seen on a racetrack. Which, and you would not know it talking to him. Getting to him, he was just like, yeah, so what? Yeah, that was me. Car up on two wheels, whatever, like.
Yeah, wild. It's one of those things like, I'll talk, just getting to chat with Peter just a little bit and see like the ASG is just, incredible person. Like, I would like to go for a ride around a track with them. Like, I would like to see that, like, experience that, because I feel like hearing all the stories about Peter, it's like, man, that would be an experience. That would be crazy. But yeah, Peter's like, it's wild how quiet and humble he is. Chris tried to like pull so much out of him, like during the interview, and Peter's just like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, like, very humble, like very humble guy, and it's wild how, but because of that, you could never understand how, like, really process how talented he was, but you could hear from everyone around him how talented, like Chris said. It's wild to meet someone like that too. So
yeah, that's it's kind of almost the opposite of what you would expect, right? Because I don't know too many people that have had like heavy duty racing careers, and I don't even know if that's fair to like define Peter's time behind the wheel like that, right? Like, but typically, like, if you're that whatever number one in the polls in the F1 or something, right? Like, those guys will tell you how they're doing, and they'll tell you how they got there, and they'll tell you everything they ate for breakfast, and that, you know what I mean? Like, it's a thing. But to see the opposite of that, where it's just like, meh, whatever. But then I don't know. You look at shit, I can't remember his name, but who was the fellow there that drove the GT40 for Carroll and Ford there?
Ken.
Ken Miles.
There
Ken
we go.
Miles.
Thank you.
Yeah, he was outspoken, but that was to his fault. He'd tell you to go fuck yourself, like, on for nothing. But I guess on the opposite side of that, like, no one really knew. You had to see him in person to understand his capabilities. I don't think I didn't get the sense anyway, watching the movie and stuff, that he was the type of guy that'd tell you how good a driver he was. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess when you're that good at something, right, you just let your skills speak for themselves. Yeah. But for you guys, how the hell are you supposed to know that unless he's going to tell you, or someone's sitting there with him to tell you, right?
Well, that was it. You know, and the brothers did a really good job, and I'm actually quite happy that they did come together, and there was sort of like, it was a little, what's the word? I don't want to say frustrating, but it was a little like threw us off at first, because it's like, okay, there's 5 guys here, like between the brothers that came with Peter and then the 2 older gentlemen that still race their cars. It's like,
are they brothers of Peter? Like these are all Derek's kids?
Brothers of each other. Like they were just around, you know, DECH in the early days. And, you know, so you got all these people and you're like, okay, yeah, no, because they're like, oh, let's just do a round table. And it's like, okay, well, let's do a round table last, but we need some one-on-ones here. But like those guys were sort of like, Peter, tell him about this. Peter, tell him, because I don't know what they know. Like I can only ask questions based on what I think, or like general shit. But like these guys are like, Peter, like tell him about, you know, sneaking your dad out of the hospital so you could go to the races. Or Peter, tell him about that time that you, and again, it's Peter, it was just actually the hospital story. He did share that one quite well, but a couple of them was just like way too humble to like, it's like, you guys know that. And that's why it was great to have those guys there, because they filled in some of those gaps by being able to say, oh, this happened, or remember that, or whatever. So I guess,
and Peter,
and I don't
just like nod, confirm.
Yeah, I don't mean this in a bad way. Like Peter isn't necessarily the best interview that we had. You can't take away from his importance. And I think at the same time, though, it really shows his character and who he is as an individual. And I think it was a really important day. I think I said it too on the last pod, and I think I shared it with Sam. If I didn't, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you, Sam. But like the one Hawkins brother messaged me, I think the day after, and just had that said, you know, oh, thank you, blah, 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 blah. And then it was on the ride home, Peter said to us, today was a good day. And like, that's it. But that today was a good day is the equivalent of how that guy felt about the day in a massive long paragraph. You know what I mean? So it's like,
right,
few words, big meaning.
Yeah. John Wayne style.
Well, it's wild. Like, you know, I don't know if you noticed it, Chris, when we were interviewing Peter, but all the other interviews, you know, people kind of were doing their little side things and stuff. When Peter got interviewed, everyone like stopped and was just like, you know, focused on what Peter was saying. He was the only one that kind of just stopped everyone's little things and little, you know, getting distracted. Everyone just focused on Peter. It was wild. It was like it just the vibe of the room changed completely once Peter was talking.
Yeah.
Like a mob boss, hey? Boss speaks, everybody just shuts the fuck up.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably because you don't hear much come out of him. And then when he speaks, everyone's like, right?
Yeah. And it's, you know, I think I could relate to it to a certain extent. You can tell he's always listening and paying attention. And it's just sort of like when he does speak, like, you better shut up and listen. And I think there was a lot of that with Derek as well. Derek being, I guess, you know, the louder, the one that would kind of gather everyone around and have that ability to, I guess, you know, get a crowd and get all this interest and involvement and everything else. But, you know, like when I asked Peter about the number of bootleg body kits that have potentially been sold and out there, and his remark was just like, I guess I should be flattered, or something like that. I forget what the exact words were. And I was like, that's such a Derek thing to say. Like, just kind of, I don't know,
Matter
like,
of fact.
yeah, just like little one-liner, with an impact, and it's like, okay, well, like, is that how you really feel though?
Right.
Like tell us how you really feel. But yeah, no, it was an amazing experience, and there'll be more opportunity um for a couple more stories and everything else. So I'm hoping that this day in October, that hopefully the weather gods of Canada um cooperate, but that'll be at a track that's going to be an opportunity for some rides around in the DECH track and getting some footage, and or DECH cars around the track, and grab a couple other key interviews from people, and hopefully be able to wrap this up, except for myself. That's the only one, and me and Sam have been like rattling this around of I've completely kind of put myself off to the side of this. There's no interview of me. I've done like a little bit of blabbering in the GoPro in the morning of every day that we were doing some filming, and generic stuff like that. But yeah, how I incorporate myself is a big question mark into this.
Well, buddy, for what it's worth, this just comes to mind instantaneously, like as you say that. I think it would be neat to tell the story from the perspective of like just a kid growing up around it, and and then working your way to kind of within it, because that perspective will resonate with, well, the whole Canadian audience of like our vintage of human being, kind of hearing it, seeing it, kind of being part of it, knowing a little bit about it, whatever, and then sort of transform that forward to today's day and age where it's like, yeah, call me, I'll get you one of the DECH body kits, a real DECH body kit or whatever, right? I think you literally just tell your story with it. Like, how did you fall in love with it? Where did you first see it? Where did it was some guy a few years older than you driving by with one, or however that looks, because that will give, I don't know, Sam, I'm probably fucking this all up. I obviously didn't go to school. My wife talked me into putting a camera in front of my face. I don't know how to do any of this shit. But just from an outsider's perspective looking in, yeah, I think having that story of from a kid's perspective to a teenager's perspective to now, and then filling in all the gaps with the stories of like actual people that are involved and Peter and all this stuff. I mean, now you're talking a movie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a personal doc. Like that's key elements of, I mean, Chris and I talked a little bit, like I come from a essay background. So like experimental essay films are incorporating historical, personal, and the what's the word? Present day almost is the best way to put it. But it incorporates all these things into one thing, and it's very experimental essay films are very the best way to describe it is like kind of walking on a hiking trail and you're talking to yourself about thoughts, and and then you incorporate historical elements into that, and but you don't really, you go a distance but you really don't result in anything is the best way to put it. So that's that's the world I live in. But like there's that it's on a spectrum, like very traditional Ken Burns docs, like speaker of God, type of thing, narrator. And that's a, like, I think you're right, like Gary, in a way, is like you got, and Chris and I have talked about it, like, getting that, bring your personal self into it in a way that isn't where you just sit down and do an interview, but it's like more to it. You're bringing your path, your timeline, or however you want to phrase it, but that whole process into it. And I think that makes a lot of sense. So.
Yeah, because it's not really a story that has an end either, really, because it's still a thing, right? It's going to have like all these ups and downs of, Derek dying and all this stuff. But I think, I don't know, like it would, for me, looking at it from that side of things, if that was a movie I was getting ready to sit down and watch, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think I'd be just teeth and eyeballs the whole time. That'd be a neat perspective to see it through, is essentially your eyes, right? And your eyes is like every other Canadian and a handful of Americans that knew about it in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Shit. What the hell do I know? I'm just some fucking bum YouTuber.
Well, I think the most interesting part about it, that I guess just in terms of being able to like manage the story properly, is that my eyes were technically the wrong eyes, or it was a different set of eyes, a set of eyes that so many other people would agree with everything that I have to say. Meanwhile, those that were involved in DECH back in the day either knew nothing about our perspective or didn't care, because
I think I see where you're going with this. Yeah.
Right. There's this street aesthetic approach to things, because like it's like judging a book by its cover. The body kit was the first damn thing that you saw. The crazy purple, bright yellow paint jobs and stuff that people were putting on, and the big 17-inch wheels at the time. That's what people saw in the streets. But the essence and the true story lived at the racetrack. And the racetrack gave two shits about what was happening on the streets, or they gave two shits about the drag racers. And Joe Da Silva talked about that difference of, there was all these guys that were racing straight lines, where it's like, going back to that essence of Derek, of if it didn't have a function for performance, I don't care. And if I had approached Derek, and I guess, let's say I was 16 with an endless supply of money, and I said, yeah, I want, a set of big wheels and an aero kit or whatever else, and, I want to go lower than what you got. Derek would have told me to go fucking pound sand.
But maybe that's the angle.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that is actually what, based on what's been learned, is that there is so much of that, but I just want to make sure that it's not just one-sided, and that, you know what I mean, the true essence and everything is there. But it's sort of like, yeah, it's going back to that article of Canada's best kept secret, or maybe it was their own best kept secret. Again, this whole self-promotion thing, like, yeah, there were some articles and whatever else, but had it got promoted more, or had it leaked more into the US market, or whatever it might have been, so yeah, there was a lot of stuff that we learned, especially, when you start asking those Celine questions, there was some interesting answers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Well, and I think you said it best, Sam. And I mean, we all, those of us that know a bit about the DECH story, kind of joke and laugh about it in that manner, where we say, like, the Canadian Celine or whatever, because it's just kind of the quickest and easiest way to like sum things up at a really high level that doesn't do it any justice, but it sums it up quickly, right?
It's really just like a brand. It's a brand analogy is the best way to describe it.
Yeah. Yeah. If my wife was explaining some fancy handbag to me, she'd say it's like a Louis Vuitton. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Now I'm familiar. Right. Yeah. But yeah, like based on what I understand of it all, right, it really doesn't do it any justice whatsoever. Right. And it's only through the conversations that you guys are having that people will have a deeper understanding of that. Right. Because it is really sad that, well, it's very sad Derek's life was cut short. It's sad that, these guys kind of just operate in their own little world, and not a lot of it leaks out into the larger community, right? Because, I mean, Sam, you're the best one. You've sat down as an outsider kind of coming into it. You could say it best, like, the waters run deep at DECH, Like this ain't some shallow stream.
Yeah, I mean, I'll simplify it to I want all the parts they made. You know,
Right.
like it truly is just. It's hard to. I mean, I really would. You know, in a way, I kind of wish we could just like show some of the interviews because they do it better
Yeah.
justice. I can't even do the justice that it needs and such. So yeah, I mean they're really enthusiastic. Like, I mean, man, are they're
All in.
yeah, all in.
Yeah.
No,
That's cool, man.
Like that one dude, 84 years old, or
Yeah.
I think he was 84. Yeah, one fast motherfucker on his license plate. Just unreal. You know what I mean? It's like, and he was the one that was around before DECH even started, which was, so cool. So I'm thankful. Obviously we can't get everyone on interview, but having these few that are still around, because let me tell you, if this was 10 years later, I think a lot of this would end up being like lost for good.
Yeah. Time's of the essence for sure. Is Peter the only son?
That's a good question. I feel like yes. I don't know if there's a sister. Something kind of makes me think maybe I don't know. Oh no, I know that. No, I take that back. I think the first guy that we interviewed, he actually had triplets, and he said that Derek always wanted a daughter, and so when that guy had his triplets, like Derek treated them like they were his daughters. Apparently,
This is the 84-year-old fella.
this was the 67-ish year old dude.
Okay.
I think it was
76.
Yeah, I think Greg's 76.
Okay.
Good grief, hey! And these boys are still out getting her done on the weekends.
Yeah.
Wow. Unreal. Huh. Well, okay. Let's maybe shift gears a little bit here, Sam. I'm really interested in the backstory of Sam. Tell me about Sam. Because I don't know it.
How many vehicles does Sam own? How about that?
That's easy to start off with because I just checked. I just paid taxes on a lot of them.
Oh, do you get hosed in North Carolina with the property tax or whatever it is?
Thank God, no. We have a thing called in the state for antique cars, and so they cap it at $500 value. So it's $26 and like 75 cents I pay on each of the classics.
Every year.
Every year, I'm fortunate. So like each one. So it's like I think with all said and done, like tax wise, I think I probably pay like, I don't know, $1,500 a year, and then my insurance is like $1,500 to $2,000
for all of them,
for everything total. So it's not bad. I mean, for 14 vehicles. I don't know if I said that yet, but I have 14. I have 14 now. Grant, I have, let's see, ice cream truck, Subaru, 3 bikes.
Good start.
Volkswagen Nova, Foxbody. I think I have 8 registered right now and unplated. I don't know. I think it's 8. I think that's what it is. Oh, and Dart.
It's $100 a rig. 100 and change.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's not. It really isn't. I mean, only reason why it's expensive is because I have so many is the problem. So to jump basically back, I guess really when it's, into the automotive space is my grandfather was a body guy, owned a shop up in Long Island. My dad worked in that, lived in that shop and all that stuff. And he's a veterinarian, didn't go into the automotive world, but into the cars. And basically I grew up somewhat around cars, kind of. I mean, I wasn't really, the best way to put it is like every time I saw an old car, I'd be like, is that a Mustang? And it'd be like a Camaro. And my dad's just It's like, God, this not going to be one of these kids. But yeah, then it somehow clicked. And then in high school, actually before I even got my permit, my dad helped me get my Nova, which is shortchanging that. It's actually a Pontiac Ventura body 72 with Chevy Nova nose 72 put together. They're sister cars, so you can swap the two. It's like putting a Capri nose on a Mustang, Fox, So
yeah.
But yeah, so I have that, and then from there I think this. Then we got the ice cream truck, which is a 69 F250 good humor truck. Then the Corvette, which kind of cool. Playboy Bunny owned it first, and then my grandmother was second to so a little contrast there, and then it spiraled, and now I have what I have. So yeah, that's kind of generally what it is, the backstory behind my automotive space.
So what steered you towards the Nova back in the day?
I think it was one of those things that just, to me, it looked cool.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I think I said, like, I don't know, just it looked cool. I wasn't into Fox. Like, to be honest, I wasn't even into Mustangs. People will be surprised. I'm a big GM person first.
Yeah.
When I originally grew up, I'm kind of all over the place. I have Volkswagen, I have Japanese, like I have everything. So it's not, I like everything, but GM, late 60s, early 70s GM was my thing. And that it was a cheap car. Novas, they've never been like really valuable cars. And because this car was, Frankenstein car, basically, no one wanted it. So yeah, and it was a good project with me and my dad. It's gone through phases, and we're hopefully on the final phase of me messing. Well, try to say it's final, but I know I'm not going to stop messing with it. But we've it's basically on a pro touring setup at this point, So
Beauty.
Yeah, it hopefully this October we'll have it done.
Yeah.
So.
And
yeah.
that's the same one you've had since high school.
High school. I have a photo like 2 years ago I put out of when I first got the car. My dad had me stand in front of it and take a photo of it, and that was December of 2013. So it was like 2023, like around there, end of 2023. I got like another plaid shirt. I went out and bought a plaid shirt just to copy the look I had back then. And stood in front of the car in the same spot right outside the barn and recreated the photo with it.
Hell yeah.
So yeah.
So tell me about this ice cream truck, because all I can think is like air ride and big wheels.
No, yeah. I mean, it has big
cab
tires.
over.
Yeah. No, this is like, it's weird. It's the last year of the good humor trucks, the way they set it up, which is Ford sent a front windshield, gauge cluster, and fenders and a hood and front bumper. But the rest of it was a blank chassis. There was like no seat, there's no doors, there's like literally there's no welds. Like they didn't weld anything, they didn't cut a cab up. They literally just didn't assemble the rest of it. And so they sent that to Hackney Brothers down in Monroe, North Carolina, like literally an hour and a half. I actually went over to where the place used to be and looked at it. It's cool. They built the refrigeration and built the rest of the cabin, but it's like a box, like where the bed would be. There's like a giant box there, and then the cabin is like, there's no driver door. There's a sketchy seat with a sketchy seat belt, and then there's there's no door on the right side. It's just an open, like you just kind of walk out, and yeah, it's a wild thing. It goes down to negative 32 degrees. It'll stay like that for a day and a half. It's like
the refrigeration shit still works.
Yeah, it hasn't been serviced since 76, I think is the last service sticker on it.
Come on.
Yeah. It still has good line pressure. It's commercial refrigeration. That stuff's, I mean, that thing's bulletproof. And if you just don't screw with it, don't mess around with it, it works like a charm. Yeah.
That's deadly, man. So I'm trying to picture like the front nose of it. Like, is it kind of like
if you look at the front of it, if you look at the front, just straight on the front, it's a 69 F250.
Okay, so it's got a hood, it's got a nose, it's got
The factory fenders, the factory windshield, but literally the windshield frame is the last part, like the cabin, the inside factory dash and all that. But literally, like where they would weld the roof and the door, like all that stuff, gone.
Nothing.
It's not there. It's never welded.
So. All right. Yeah, because I'm kind of picturing like a Grumman, you know, like, or a UPS unit, you know, where they're almost like cab over kind of things with a stubby nose.
Yeah, no, it looks like a pickup truck at the front, and then you get to the side. I mean, I took on Power Tour 23, you know, which was the goofiest thing. We you know, me and the Spirit Le Mans guy, we were kind of at it for being the weirdest vehicles on that trip that year. Unfortunately, he won the Hot Rod Power Tour lotto and got in the magazine. I didn't.
Oh, fuck.
I know. God, give it to the airplane on wheels to beat out the ice cream truck. If I brought ice cream, I think I would beat out him then. But yeah, it's like, it's hard to explain. Like, it's one of those things you have to see it to really understand it.
Right.
But it has a straight 6. We're doing a 5-speed swap. You know, generally keeping it stock, like refurbing it. But the big thing is, you know, the 300 straight 6 has 4-barrel intake, headers, dual exhaust out the back, like the headers are dual collector, which is a little weird on a straight 6. It sounds weird. It sounds like a lawnmower.
It's 3 and 3. Like you got 3 coming off one. Oh, cool.
Yeah, it sounds like a lawnmower that's really angry at times.
Right.
Yeah. So, and
then those 300s, they're like, I can't even imagine on that Power Tour. I had a half ton with a 300 in it, and that thing didn't know how to pull hills. You could be in 3rd, 4th, or 5th gear, and it would stay the same fucking speed. Just rev more.
So that's the issue with the 300s, is the factory carburetors restrict so much airflow that they literally just do exactly what you said. So what we did, that's why we did the 4-barrel. It actually, I mean, so I've seen dyno videos of doing the conversion, and it goes from like 90 horsepower at the flywheel to 160-ish when you do this. Yeah, and it gains like, I think it goes from like 180 foot-pounds to 300 foot-pounds. It's insane.
Jesus.
You can go on YouTube and look up I think, you know, one of the big YouTube channels that does engines has a whole series on it. So that's it. Once we did that, I mean, the thing is like, it's kind of scary how fast it feels. I think if you watch it, it's still probably slow as can be, but it actually has, like, you know, it moves. And the big issue is the 3-speed automatic that came with it sucks. So we're doing, like I said, we're doing a TKX 5-speed swap, which is a little weird. There's not a what's the phrase? You know, off the shelf installation for that setup. I don't think anyone's really thought about putting a TKX behind a 300. So like pilot bearing, stuff like that, we're working on. And fortunately, you know, we're working with Hanlon and those guys that come to Foxbody, and they've really, you know, gone out of their way to help engineer this madness with us and join the ride. So, but yeah.
Oh, that's cool, buddy. Yeah. What, Kate? Now, did I hear this right, Sam? You're only 27.
Yep.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, we're not talking years and years ago. Like, this is somewhat in your rear view mirror that you were in high school.
Yeah,
9 years ago.
Yeah, roughly. Don't remind me too much. I see in my hometown some of my high school graduate, like, you know, we all, you know, all of us, and they're talking about a 10-year reunion. I'm like, it's not 10 years, and it's like,
all right.
Oh God, it is.
Wait until you hear about the 20 or the 30-year reunion.
Yeah.
Shit, yeah.
I'll delete my email at that point. He spoke signal me at that point.
So, okay, buddy. Now, how did you work your way in with Jen and Matt? How did that all come to be?
I don't even, still to this day, I don't understand how that even worked out. I just showed up one day at the shop to go buy some parts, and Matt and Jen were like, "Hey, can you come come to the back of the shop, or like into the work area? We want to ask you something." And like Matt's like, "Would you want a job?" And I was like, "Oh, sure, why not? I have nothing better to do with." Like, I just was at that point in my life. I just graduated college. Like, it was a weird time because I graduated spring of 21. So like we're kind of that still COVID-ish transition period in North Carolina. So it was a really weird time. And I just was like, yeah, let's have a shake up. And
No shit.
yeah, it good ride. I mean, really, Matt and I talk almost daily to this day. My 83's over there right now. Matt's trying to bail me out of ripping my floor pans apart.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Okay, so it was a whatever, just fell on your lap.
I asked them, why did you offer? And I guess they cited, to me it was nothing. But so 2018 was the first Foxtoberfest I showed up to, and I was really enthusiastic just being there. It was really cool. So 2019, when they had volunteers, I showed up. There's a photo circulating the internet, and maybe I'll repost it, or maybe I'll recreate it this year. Who knows? Maybe I will.
Hey, we might need a thumbnail for this podcast.
But there's my friends, one of my friends from high school, knew Fox, and they didn't understand what Fox bodies were. They just heard Fox, so they mailed me a Fox onesie, and they're like, "Wear it, please." And I have no shame. Everyone knows this. I just don't care. I do whatever feels good. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll wear a Fox onesie to Foxtoberfest." Mind you, I was volunteering that year, and I got there really early. I was one of those horrible people that get there 3 hours before it starts.
Yeah.
Except, really, I got there an hour before the volunteering was supposed to start. So I got there at 5 a.m. I lived 2 hours from where they were doing it. And so so Matt Serbin, if you guys know him, but he's the first one. He was the volunteer coordinator that year. Shows up, and there's a Fox sitting there, the only Fox in the parking lot, and out comes a guy in a Fox onesie. And it was the weird. I think that was probably the start of I think they noticed, they're like, this guy's a little bit crazy and enthusiastic. And then 21, I volunteered, and then I think, and right after 21, there was Jen put out some Google form, and there was tons of technical issues. And I ran a film festival. We used Google Forms a bunch for that festival, so I was really familiar with the forms. I quickly emailed Jen. I was like, hey, here's all these problems. If you just let me fix some of it, I'll fix it all for you, and all that. And I think that's what's kind of the gears started turning in their heads, and led down to the path of offering me a job position. So
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome, buddy.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so when did you finish up there? How long has it been since you haven't worked there?
So 22 was when they separated and all that. So I went with Jen in 22, and then I left working with Fox Events and Jen in 20, Foxtoberfest 23 was 2 weeks after that I left. Technically I still work with Matt. I think I'm technically on payroll, but I don't actually work. I just help him out, and with stuff. And that's, mostly we just do bartering in the sense, because my E3, I keep breaking it, just keep destroying that car. Every time he fixes it, makes this car beautiful, I find a way to break something else in it, find the weak point in it, and break it. And so he keeps bailing me out on stuff. So
nice. Yeah, that's a good guy to know when it comes to stuff like that, right? So how's he doing? Shit, I haven't I haven't even heard much from Matt in a long time.
I mean, the best thing, the industry's tough. I think everyone knows that. The parts are tough. It's hard. Every day we find a new defective part that's just really, we can't make this right. And for people like Matt who are in that industry, repairing stuff, it's rough. It's a really rough world. He's working his butt off and fixing cars and putting them out. I Calypso, Harris's car's there right now. Calypso's getting, had some issues from previous shop, and now it's getting straightened out and fixed, right?
Right.
And there's a bunch of cars, that's, come in and they have these cars are 40 years old, unfortunately. Everything's wrong with them. So you guys know that. So, he's busy.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. What, speaking of Harris, that dirty dog's down in Mustang Week right now, isn't he?
Yeah, I'll see him either tomorrow or Wednesday.
Okay, you're going then. That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, so tomorrow, so this is what's funny is I get up early tomorrow, go over the FMR. We're going to fix my floor pans, fix my tail shaft that I've destroyed the bearing out of that, and yoke. Turns out I bought a defective yoke, or and yoke, and it wobbled in the bearing, and I was supposed to just drive up to pits, bring it back, and put a new yoke in it.
Yeah.
And then that was 6 months ago, roughly. And a couple hundred burnouts later, and donuts, and full, wide open. And now the shaft's just like, I mean, you can just wobble it like crazy. It's awful. So
Ooh.
yeah, so we got a new yoke, new bearing, new seal, throw in that. So I'll fix that. And then as I think Gary, because you've probably seen on my social, at least on my Facebook, is my complaining about floor pans.
Yeah.
This is what's aggravating still to this day. It's been like 3 weeks and I'm still pissed. How dare the Fox community not publicly make a banner? Early Foxes rip the floor pans. Like, no, I've been in this community for, I don't know, since 2016 when I got the 83, and I've never seen someone talk about the floor pans ripping.
Right.
Never. And
that's what what you're dealing with too, is yours are torn.
Yeah, mine literally, like the pan around the bolt, like the bolt mounting for the back seat, the driver outer rear bolt has ripped all the way around, and then actually stress cracked and ripped further down from it going towards the other bolt.
Holy shit, hey?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's particularly a big issue from 79 to 83. And then 84, they put the reinforcements in. And then, the reinforcement's not really that great anyway. So, they still
it still happens in the later years, just like the old gangster lean in the seat. It's
So
you're just grabbing those gears too hard, man.
Yeah, that 4-speed, man. S-Rod. I like how everyone said the S-Rod was going to break, and instead my floor pan breaks before the S-Rod does.
Right.
Pushing the limits of 83 engineering right there.
Yeah.
When did you get that car, buddy?
2016. That was I bought that. So by that point in 2016, I was going community college, and I was daily driving the Nova, but the Nova, I had to there's a lot of things. The windshield got punched out is the best way to summarize that situation. So
road rage or what?
No, the car originally was in a collision before I owned it, and so my buddy pulled the frame, and when it did that, popped the glass out, and I just I really need to do body work and all that. So that I was trying to put the Nova on, the back burner to do the body work to get, because at that point, I mean, the quarter panels were rotted. I only did the floor pans around the glass, some of the repairs, but there's so much other rot that needed to be fixed. It was spray paint. I had spray painted white stripes on it, really classy. What's funny is we're going back when I repaint the car in December. We're putting the stripes back on the car. I missed them too much. My high school, I got to get back to my high school days. But yeah, so I had that. The Corvette was turned into a massive undertaking. The salt water got in the cylinders, so that motor was seized to the moon. The floors rotted out. Of course, a 77 Corvette would have metal floor pans in it. Fiberglass car still rots. And so I got those. The Firebird I got senior year, and someone did an engine swap from the original 350 to a 301. So that one, that was junk. That turned into I had needed engine trans, floor, wasn't a good daily driver. So by that point, I had 4 vehicles that weren't eligible, or 3 vehicles that weren't eligible for daily driving. So I was on Marketplace trying to find, or Craigslist. This is how back it was when Craigslist was still a thing.
Yeah.
I was trying to find a 05 to 09 Mustang GT convertible, manual, all that. Except they were too expensive. They're like 15 grand, and I didn't want to drop 15. So I was possibly looking at a Fiesta ST at that time too, and ran across the 83 listing. Some guy in Tennessee was selling it, and for the first owner, and and it was the right price. It was like 30. He was asking like 36 for it, 3,600.
Okay.
Had 103,000 miles, original miles on it. Like I said, one owner. Um, 4-speed car, so a manual car. It had V8 and it was carbureted. And my dad's like, "This is the perfect car." So I sent that.
Yeah.
Like there was this. This is September, and there's a class at the community college. I was like this intro to college class, which when you're like you're just so enthusiastic about doing things. I walked in that class the first 2 weeks. I did all the work for the entire semester, and so the teachers just let me just goof off in the class, like do and so that's why I did marketplace and stuff. That's all I did for like
Nice.
4 months. It was great. It was a wonderful class. I loved it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I found it, sent it to my dad that morning, and I went to film class throughout the day, and we were in the building that had no cell reception. So I get out of my last film class was like 6 or 7 o'clock, and my school was like 45 minutes away from my house. And so I get outside, I get like 5 missed phone calls from my dad, and he's like, and so call him back, and he's like, get home as quick as you can. We're getting in the truck. We're going straight over to Tennessee. I'm like, what for? We're going to look at that car. We're going to go look at, that car's going to be gone tomorrow if we don't go. So we go. It's like 9 o'clock when we get there. 9:30. Go look at the car. Looks all good. The guy takes my dad out for a test drive. Dad comes back in, and he's like, "Yeah, we're going to buy it." buys the car before I even drive it, ride in it, anything. I was like,
right.
Don't even. And then the guy's like, "Don't you?" The guy selling it was like, "Doesn't your son like want to do anything with the car?" So he they had the original TRXs with dry rotted the TRX tires on it, because no one's going to replace those. And so it was sketchy. One headlight working, tires that were dry rotted, and it was still a V8 car with a 4-speed. So I just remember the guy took me out, and it was like wild. It was sketchy. And then I remember the next day, so we buy the car, come back the next day with a trailer, and my dad's like, it's like, let's go take it around the block, take it around. And my dad just shredded the tires. It was like just wild. And the car wasn't even running great. I think that thing probably only made like 186. Well, we know I dynoed it at Fox Surface. It made 186 when it was in 2018.
Right.
It's a lot more now, but yeah, wild car. So that's the whole story of the 83. And then for 2 years, I daily drove it. Never a part of the Fox community. Like I wasn't active in it really.
Right.
Like didn't know about Foxtoberfest in 2016 or 2017. I think don't hold it to me. I think it was either Kevin Brown and Jeff Sunderland, or it was Mike Clay and one of those guys. One of those three. I met at a local car show in Charlotte, and they're like, "You should go to this show this show called Foxtoberfest next year." And that was 2017, end of 2017. So 2018 rolls around, and I was like, "Okay, I'll go Foxtoberfest." So that's how I actually really got into the Fox community, was 2018 and through Foxtoberfest.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah. So
yeah, you never hear these backstories, right? And because like you say, I mean, well, you were such a presence with Foxtoberfest and everything, so everybody knew you as that, but like I never knew any of this, right? Like, I mean, how many other people didn't? I'm sure like your close buddies and folks that you know around the area do, but like, yeah, the rest of us out here in the extended kind of community, right? It's like, shit, I've always wondered.
Yeah. It's funny. Like I look back, and it's like, the Fox community's been, part of my life since 2018. Like I've really been active in it since then. But like, I can't like, it's weird to think of the 2 years of owning that car and not be like, I wasn't in the forums. I wasn't like, when I went to car shows, I didn't think like, oh man, Foxbody. Like I just was like, oh, I'm just have a Mustang that's like 80s Mustang that, I never thought about that until Foxtoberfest.
Yeah. I know, that's kind of wild to think about, hey, like, because, well, especially like my perspective up here being out west in Canada, like really the Fox community that like I remember, it was just like that handful of buddies that you had local to you. And then, I guess the extension of that was like the 5.0 mags or the Muscle Mustangs fast forwards, right? And that was kind of it. And then on comes the internet, forums, and that morphs into kind of where we are today with, like, I don't know, thousands and thousands of groups on Facebook and everything else, right? It's just endless. But then, like Chris and I were talking about this last time, we talked a little bit about your guys' little DECH tour there. And we were just saying how crazy it is for like some of these old boys who, hell, they probably don't even have a computer. They might not even have a damn smartphone, right? Maybe they got the old StarTAC flipper. And they probably don't even know where, like, just how large this community actually is.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes around the friggin' world.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So yeah, it's pretty wild for me too, buddy. I think back to, like, well, when I pulled the motor out of this thing in 2017, and at that time it was like just shy of that, maybe like 15 or 16 is when, no, it would have been before then. I can't remember what the hell I said last time, Chris, but I was referencing like when I first stumbled onto the LMRs of the world and American Muscle and stuff. And I was like, holy shit, are you kidding me? Like, I didn't even know that there was a fucking store that I could buy replacement parts, trim and whatever, right? Just stupid replacement stuff. And then, yeah, here we are today. And I mean, it's, I would say, arguably bigger than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Like probably even bigger than the mag days.
Probably. Power of the internet, bro.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, and I mean, the reality is it makes sense. I mean, 20 years ago, during the 2010, like that time period, you saw the late 60s, early 70s stuff being the hottest thing out there. And now you guys have aged. Don't want to be that kind of guy, but you guys have aged into that bracket now where you guys have the money and the time, and you can play with the cars that you had back in the day. I mean, give me another 20 years and you'll see me with some Civic or some, knowing me, it'll be like a 06, 07 Subaru, realistically.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I am a Subaru person. So
it's crazy to think, man. I think it was yesterday because we took out the U60 M5 the other night. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, this car, I got to check the tag because chances are it's an 06. It was probably built either late of 05 or early of 06. I'm like, this fucking car is 20 years old.
Yeah.
Like my Viper truck is 21 years old. Like, just blows my mind.
I know, and all that stuff seems like it's still new, right? Like I still think of late 90s stuff as being new. And it's 20 fucking 5+ years old. It's crazy.
And like even relatively, like my E39's an 03. So it's technically only 3 years off, but those two body styles seem so far apart. But meanwhile, they were pretty much back to back. Like, there was a little bit, there was a 2-year gap, but it's just crazy how some of this stuff is like, I don't know. Or maybe it's us.
Well, yeah, it's true. I know we're getting a lot more gray everywhere and on us, right? So, like, what, Sam, for you, like, what was a hot rod in high school? Like, what would have been? Because, like, just to give you some perspective, I was going through some old shit the other night trying to clean out our basement and stuff, and I'm flipping through a yearbook, and my buddy's 69 Chevy's in there in the parking lot doing a burnout, and like that was an old pickup. I mean, not that old then. I mean, it was still old, but that was an older, cool vehicle for someone to have when I was in high school through 95 to 99.
So what was like, I remember, so we didn't have a lot of car people in my high school, unfortunately. It was the nerd high school of the county. But so like new edges were like the ones that were like kind of like you saw a lot of people drive new edges and they were hopped up. Otherwise, what's wild is like the car that like kind of end of high school, like literally my senior year, I remember a kid that was a grade below me got, and I was just amazed that his dad got him. They got a RT Challenger, and like that's the car. Like, you know, you have those people that are like the F40s, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had the poster. The Hellcat was my car, like high school. That like I have all the posters. I have every single magazine for every single Hellcat article. Or the Demon. I have every article on the Demon 13. Like I have all that. That's the car that like in high school that was like the car if you were cool to like
Right.
have some form of a Challenger, a new Challenger. But like really like the people that could afford like got something that was fast was a new Edge was always the thing. That was always the car.
Right. Isn't that funny, right? Because I know I had a buddy that this was just after high school. He got a new Edge, and I mean, it was just well, shit. Yeah, what his was a 99. I graduated in 99, so this would have been like 01 or something. And like next best thing to a brand new car, especially at that age, right? And we were all just blown away with it. But then to think like, yeah, years beyond that, you're in high school, and that's kind of a air quote older cool car.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's funny because I'm kind of thinking back. There were the other car. And I remember Robbie, who's a grade higher. I still friends with him. Robbie had a Catfish Camaro.
Oh,
and I remember distinctly him and me racing. I probably shouldn't necessarily racing. Well, it's too far gone. Come chase me, North Carolina. Racing literally from the exit where we got on from like got on the highway from our high school, and it was about like 3 miles or 4 miles to the exit for the town we all lived in, and we just wide open as fast, like just running it, like. And it was, in retrospect, horrible decision. The Nova was a piece of like that car was a pile even then. I mean, now it's a lot less of a pile, but like that was a sketchy car to be going that fast. And him when that Catfish Camaro is wild. And
jeez.
but yeah, the other one was Catfish Camaro. I remember distinctly now.
So. Right. My oldest daughter was asking me, I can't remember how this came up in conversation now, but we were driving down the road. We were talking about my green coupe, and it was something about accidents, and like maybe had I ever been in an accident and stuff, and then that went into, have you ever been in an accident in your green car? I said nope. Have you like ever been close? I'm like, I don't know if I want to have this conversation with you right now, but like, yeah. And all of these memories started flooding back to me. So one I'll tell you about, I still to this day can't honestly tell you how I made it out of it unscathed and alive, but living in the mountains of British Columbia, and I was following a motorhome right on his ass, as you do when you're a young fuck, right? Because you're in a hurry to get nowhere. And it was kind of a hill up, but it was also a curve to the right. And so I, in my infinite wisdom, thought, well, I'm just going to pull into the shoulder a little bit and kind of use the corner to my advantage. I'll be able to see around them if anyone's coming, and then I'll just pull out and dust them around the corner, right? Double solid yellow, like fucking idiot. Anyway, pulled over, looked, and just didn't even signal, didn't even think, just fucking winged it into the other lane. And there's a big rig coming right at me. So again, like, I don't know how I even reacted to do this, but yarded it towards the ditch on the far side. So like now I'm over fucking 3 lanes. I went down the ditch with 2 wheels and 2 on the shoulder. Big rig went by me this way, and the motorhome kept going that way. I pulled back up onto the road, threw my shorts out the window, got in front of them, and went into town. Unbeknownst to me, my buddy's dad was behind me when I decided to make this fucking idiot move. Yeah. And so I went home still vibrating. Don't even know how I lived through this. And the phone rings, house phone, right? Corded. Hey, Mom, how you doing? Hey, she says, I got Lauren Hansen standing here, and he was telling me you almost just died. I'm like, oh no. Yeah. needless to say, the keys were gone for quite some time after that. And yeah.
That's
but like dodged a bullet somehow. I don't know. When I look back on it now or think back on it, I do not know how I subconsciously made it through that. Like, I don't know why I reacted the way I did. I mean, I'm thankful that I did, but none of it adds up to me to be able to make decisions that fast.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I have a notch from high school, right from here down to here on my back of my skull. No one knows about because I wore a beanie for so long. Now
right.
people, funny thing, Della and Matt freaked out because they saw it finally. I was like, what the heck's with this notch? I was like,
all right, well, you're killing me here, buddy. What'd you do?
I was my dad was driving my aunt's 69 Corvette. We were up on Long Island, and somehow, I don't even understand how we did it. We spun it out across 3 lanes, not going that fast. I think we were doing like 60, but spun it out. It was on Sunrise Highway. For the people that listen from Long Island, they'll know where I'm at.
Yeah.
Spun it across 3 lanes during lunchtime, during weekday, went right into the trees with a stupid Corvette, and somehow came right, I think, like half a foot from a steel light pole. But totally, I mean, totally destroyed my head. I just kept bashing it into the fiberglass pillar. And so that's that was fortunately, that's literally the only time I've been in like a wreck or like partially. I kind of take responsibility because I screwed up. Like partially, my dad was asking if the lane was clear, and I thought it was. And then I told him the last second because I saw a car flying up that it wasn't. So I remember him. He panicked, tried to just steer it a little bit, like sway, and that car. I mean, it was a little wet. It was a 4-speed with 411 gears, the 350. Like it was, it's not like a Corvette's handles well to begin with, and it just spun it, just spun. Had a real fun time. Lap belt, best, totally 100% so good. The lap belts, totally. Thank God we have 3-point seat belts now.
Yeah.
So
unreal, dude. So all it did is just cut you, like split your.
Oh no, there's like a notch. Like if you X-ray, it's like legit. There's like a notch still. My head never healed right. Like it's still weird to this day because if I take a shower the right way, like where like the stream touches that skin, it's like the worst feeling ever.
Ooh,
my nerves are all screwed up there. Yeah, no, like I didn't wear a beanie because of that. It's just turned out wearing a beanie was quite nice to like cover that area for a long time.
Wow, buddy, that's scary.
Yeah.
I had another couple I'll give you boys. One was with a buddy. Again, this car. So these are all going to be with this same stupid green car. Leaving a party and coming up a hill. And at the top of that hill, you kind of met the main road or whatever. And I always kind of thought to myself, like, hey, this seems to have the right kind of grading to it that like you could probably at the very least like get your guts up towards your lungs if you hit it quick enough, and we came up that hill and definitely overjudged the speed that we were coming up that hill. And because I had done it at normal speeds or a little bit above average speeds, and noticed it first, and then I'm like, okay, let's really hit her. Anyway, I hit her and we left the ground. I don't know how much, but I mean, it was enough to essentially be weightless for a minute and have no steering, right?
Good thing you didn't have cut springs in that bitch.
Yeah, I think I was probably still rolling stock springs. Anyway, and all of this again is happening in split seconds, but we're heading straight towards a telephone pole that grew up in a very small town, had been hit many times before. And the guy that one of the 2 guys that lived kind of straddling that light pole, actually, it wasn't even a light pole. It was just like a wood telephone pole. It had been hit so many times, they put an engine block out at the base of it, right, to kind of slow down whoever. Anyway, we, in some, again, sheer strike of luck, caught ground, turned, and avoided that block and that pole somehow. Yeah. And then this other one, this one wasn't that scary, but I remember going like, holy shit, that could have been way worse, was coming up out of our town. It's 2 lanes, but coming up the hill, you've got sort of a passing lane. And it's a slow speed, like, I don't know, 35, maybe mile an hour. And going up there in rain. I'm in the fast lane, and this guy comes up beside me in a pickup on the right and starts giving me the signal, right? Like, hey, let's go. And this goes into a big, long sweeping left-hand corner. And I thought, oh yeah, fuck this guy, right? Out of 4th, into 3rd, and in the rain, right? Just end-to-end swap. And I went across the other lane of traffic and backwards into just a really nice kind of sloping side ditch thing, right? Car full of people, right? Everybody's like ghosts, right? Holy shit. We thought we were toast there, right? But anyway, couple of the close calls and the old girl. I was telling my daughter all these the other day, and hopefully not giving her any shit ideas. I'm hoping she can learn from my mistakes, right? But she's also asking me if she can have the car when she's 16. I'm like, fuck, no way.
I thought you were going to give her the banana.
Yeah, that's potentially still in there. I ran it by the wife the other day, though. She's like, why would you give her that piece of shit? I'm like, hey, it is not a piece of shit, right? Said it runs good, everything works. She's like, it doesn't even have an airbag. I'm like, exactly. That's the best part about it.
Yeah.
Or one of. How much trouble can you get into in a fucking little beast like that, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys feel this, but like, I feel like growing up with a car that had no features, like the Nova had no power steering, no power brakes. I mean, we did do a disc conversion all the way around, but that was it. You didn't like text or drive. You didn't, you focused on the road. And, I drove up, I borrowed my mom's Crosstrek, brand new 2024 Crosstrek to drive up to Canada. You could fall asleep in that car and it'll drive itself to Texas. Like it's a base model car, no features. The eyesight and the collision and all that stuff. All you have to do is just put a little pressure on the steering wheel. It'll do it all the work for you. I'm like,
yep.
And that's the day and age we live in. It's weird. I don't know. I feel like after driving that car for like 1,500 miles, like my brain got number. Like I got stupider with my driving habits. Cause like I get in another car and I'm just like, sending it all over the place.
100%, man. It's their distracted driving is a result of like, it's their own fault. Like make everything manual again.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It takes away an arm. Well, and a leg, technically. Yeah. But it's not going to get them to move out of the fast lane on the interstate. But I don't know. At least around town, maybe they'll be a little bit more focused. But with all that ranting, I have got homemade beer pizza dough, and I'm going to fire up my Gosney for the first time in a year now. And go make some za.
Nice.
I have steak sweet sitting in my refrigerator right now. I got from the farmer's market, so
ooh, boys,
start up the grill in a minute.
There you go.
I like
Gary,
it. Yeah.
what are you having?
FA. I'm the only one home right now, so probably mac and cheese.
He's going to do the craft too. He's not even going to get the Velveeta.
Velveeta.
Yeah,
the fancy shit.
Yeah.
No, it's true. I guess we should have. Well, this is my week to upload the pod. I'll do a little happy Labor Day to everybody at the start or on the intro. But yeah, thanks for doing this, Sam, especially on a holiday Monday. This is awesome, bud.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on and chatting about everything. So
Absolutely.
Well, we should maybe we'll pencil in like maybe a recap once this thing's all put together, because I think it'd be fun to hear the other side of the story, especially once you factor in that October track day and everything.
Yeah, I'm really pumped for that. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Awesome, buddy. Okay, well, can we and I'll do this in the intro too, Sam, but can I pump anything for you? What are you up to these days?
I mean, basically, if you follow me on my Instagram, that's generally that's kind of how I treat my Instagram is my public facing social. If people want to follow me and stuff like
that's your self promotion.
Yeah, that's my little self promotion. I mean, technically, I do have social for the production, my business and stuff, which is Venova Productions. But I'm like we said, bad self promotion. I don't really post that much on there compared to my personal. So,
right.
Okay, I love it, buddy.
Yep.
Okay, boys. Well, happy Labor Day to you, and enjoy those beautiful meals. Think of me while I'm eating my fucking ramen.
Absolutely. Cheers to that.
All right. Later, guys.
Later.
All right. See you guys.